One of the UK's most elusive and skillful fighters, Michael McKinson, makes a trip across the pond to take on one of the wrecking balls in the 147-pound division. Vergil Ortiz, Darren, has ripped through pretty much everybody in his path, but this is a guy who is going to be far harder to hit than anybody he's been in with so far.
This is your ball v matador situation. You've got the guy that can move constantly for 12 rounds against an absolute wrecking ball. 18 fights, 18 wins, 18 knockouts. It's just, will McKinson be able to take the power? Will Ortiz be able to close the ring down? There's so many variables here. I can't wait.
Yeah, plenty of variables. You get the gloves on, I'll get the pads on, and we'll take a look at where this fight may be won and lost. So we know who's going to be pressing the fight. We know who's going to be on the back foot. But it is important for Michael McKinson not to give momentum to the pressure fighter too easily in the early stages.
Yeah, well, look, we see against Chris Congo. Yeah. McKinson comes straight to the centre of the ring, and I think it shocked Congo slightly.
Yeah,
he was like, wow, I wasn't expecting
he's suddenly
this.
Here, isn't he? And he's
straight away.
Yeah.
He's straight away, and I think that's important here. He can't give up too much ground as the fight goes on. I think, look, I talk about this an awful lot, about sort of using a ring within a ring. You don't want to get backed up too much, but it's going to be very difficult against someone like Ortiz, who's just so physically strong. Yeah,
you're right against Chris Congo. And the other thing he did is he didn't wait too long to land his first counter. We're talking literally first 15 seconds of the fight. Congo, obviously an orthodox fighter as well, very sharp hands too, and a quick puncher. Fired the jab off, and the first thing that McKinson did was he slipped outside, come back with the left hand, and then the reverse, so a reverse 1-2, and he covered the ground so quickly. Yeah. Shut that space right down, and actually within about a couple of rounds, he'd actually put Congo down with the similar combination.
Yeah, I mean it's smart stuff. It's almost covering your bases there. You're landing the shots, you're smothering your work almost, and I think against a big puncher like that's a wise move. So he sort of taps out, he slips on the inside, bang, boom, and he's there.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if when the fight goes on, the referee starts warning McKinson for it. You know,
especially if the forearms are coming in.
The forearms are coming up. And also, on the flip side, I think Ortiz might look at this, and I don't think he'd be too frustrated because it's really tiring when you're grabbing hold of someone and trying to, you know, the bigger, more physical man, you're trying to keep him at bay. It's tiring down the stretch, but certainly he's very, very crafty and clever with his work.
For Ortiz, he's going to know as the fight goes on whether he's comfortable with the power. You'd think he probably will be, but in order to land shots, he can't wait until after McKinson's thrown. He's going to have to start timing him, isn't he, as he comes in?
We see against Hooker at times, he just didn't bring his feet in quick enough, and he's almost falling over a little bit. With that, it was just he's so eager to get in and land the big shots. And you can understand that with 18 knockouts on his record. But he needs to bring the feet in. And I think another thing against a guy that's moving an awful lot, you want to try and slow them down. And obviously the body shots are the best for that. Just quickly, until we get on, before we get onto the combination, I think it's important as well for Ortiz just to hit anything as well, just to try and put a dent in Michael. You know, your legs, the hips, anything, just to.
Yeah, we saw Canelo against Billy Joe do that, didn't we? He knew he was going to be exiting right or left, so he threw wide sweeping hooks, knowing that, you know, at best he's going to catch the top of the hip, he might hit the shoulder, but if you've got power, that is going to affect a fight.
They really, really do take the toll. You've got to remember, 12 rounds is a marathon, not a sprint. And all of those shots on the arms, they really do make a difference. But the shot I expect Ortiz to look for as the fight goes on, and he might look for it early, is to slip outside, throw the body shot, the left to the body, and what he does really well against the southpaw is he'll come straight down the middle. He did it against Hooker, so he landed the body shot, and then he's got options here, straight down the middle, he can go straight over the top of the shot. So I think that's key. Bang, bang. Yeah. Shot right hand straight down the middle, and I think as the rounds go on, I think he'll start to really put a dent in McKinson.
McKinson's head position is always very, very disciplined. He gets off the line with everything he throws. Often throws very unorthodox shots. He'll sort of drop outside the line and corkscrew the jab up. He'll come right outside the line and whip the left hook over. How important is it for Ortiz, especially in the early sort of goings, to keep the guard tight? And as McKinson's throwing, watch where his head's going so that he knows, because throwing down the middle, you're going to miss McKinson 9 times out of 10. But actually anticipating when he's throwing a left hook, that's where the head is. And then catching him like he did with Maurice Hooker, with that little catch and counter left hook or something like that.
Yeah, I think timing's going to be crucial here for Vergil Ortiz. You've got to try, like you say, throw when McKinson's throwing. And like you said, he throws that lovely left hand, he takes his head off centre line, and he's down here.
Yeah.
So I think, like you say, if he's going straight with the shots, Ortiz, he's going to miss. So he's almost trying to throw the hook as he's throwing the left.
To there.
Exactly.
And if McKinson's hand is out of position, then that could hurt him, couldn't it?
The example I'm thinking of, it comes straight to mind, is Danny Garcia versus Amir Khan.
Yeah.
You know, he missed with that left hook about 4 or 5 times, and eventually found the timing.
He knew he was getting closer.
He knew he was getting in. It could be a similar case with Ortiz.
One shot McKinson throws very, very well, and he'll use it to not just give up ground, but to step around his man. Is a shot that I know you used to love in the amateurs.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get you to throw it from southpaw because I know it's more natural to throw it from orthodox. But of course, just assuming for those of you watching that McKinson is obviously a right-handed fighter, or rather left-handed fighter, is that sort of becomes like a double whipping left hook to get around his man?
Yeah. So I would use this shot for various different reasons, but the main reason would be to sort of get my opponent in the position I want and get where I want to be in the ring. So I'd always, when my opponent comes forward, which Ortiz is going to do, just spin off, and then I can bring myself to the centre of the ring.
Yeah.
It's important. Like when I think my style was similar to McKinson's when I was an amateur.
Yeah.
You know, obviously I was an orthodox, but the sort of problems that I faced having that sort of style were when people targeted the body first with straight shots. I used to lean back a little bit, and Michael does tend to do that. So the jab to the body, then work back upstairs, and also bringing your feet in, because I used to lean back. I used to take a little step back like that to try and make my opponents fall short with their shots, and I could counter. So it's important for Vergil Ortiz to be a bit sharper, quicker than he was against Hooker with his feet. Double jab, then you're there, then work away back upstairs.
Yeah, and of course the key thing for him in this fight is going to be patience, because there is a good chance he's going to feel frustrated after 4 or 5 rounds, isn't there?
Yeah, and I think for Michael McKinson is about staying switched on, try not to get too exhausted early on. It's a marathon, not a sprint, like I always say. Try not to burn up too much nervous energy. Ring position's key, and I think you can't be greedy.
Very, very interesting fight this. It's the Bull, Vergil Ortiz, the Matador, Michael McKinson. Who will prevail in this fabulous clash at £147?